Okay, welcome everybody to session number 6. We're going to talk today about how to create, brand, and sell products and services.
Okay.
And we've got 2 volunteers who are going to start us off on
what they hear from you.
A call to the session tonight. And I'm muting some people just so that we can hear Philip and Deborah. Give us just a nice way to open the call, if you guys would. You can't hear?
Very good.
We can hear you.
Let's take a couple of deep breaths. As the sound of the gong reminds us of creation and how the sounds are all around us.
Okay. Chat, record, participants, invite.
And how we can take all the sounds around us and really focus our creativity to create the ideas and the sounds and the focus that we need into this meeting.
Try restarting.
Oh, well, she's saying we.
To bring us in to a place of transformation. Let's take a couple more deep breaths and maybe we could hear the gong play just one more time and really focus in on that.
Thank you. Let's give them some love. No rehearsal. Okay, I'm just going to do an opening tag in. Philip is here. I want to just say hello, so make sure all the sound is working.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes.
Happy to be present.
We know Deborah's here. We heard her. Diane, can we hear you?
Hi.
Okay, good. That's working. Janelle, let's hear you say hello.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Okay. She's working it in. And Trisha.
We can hear you.
Oh, good. All right. So that's working. And then there was somebody else coming in, but I don't see them. All right.
Can you not see me? What's the deal?
No.
We can't see you, but you can send your video. Bottom left-hand corner, click on share my video. Or not, you don't have to. All right, I'm going to mute everybody and kick off the call. Mute all. Okay, so tonight, this afternoon for some of us in the West Coast, I love this topic. This topic is to create, brand, and sell products and services, but really the synopsis of this call tonight is about products and services, which I could rename the 2 most important secrets to successful self-employment. This was something that I learned so much about when I worked at Remo Drum Company, because Remo Drum Company, the drum manufacturer, was products. And what made Remo successful was being the innovator in collaboration with services. So music therapists were services. So Remo went out and found the service providers and found the programs. One of the initial ones he invested in was, even before Health Rhythms, was called Rhythm for Life. And Remo supported that project with Mickey Hart, Barry Bernstein, Alicia Clare. I know Janelle's nodding her head because we were all part of the thrilling, oh good, hi Lulu, yay. She's calling in from like, maybe Lulu's just in Canada this time, but sometimes she's in Ireland or something. So anyway, yes. So that is when I really started to understand how complementary this products and services is. And just to kick it off with these two slogans, they're complementary strategies for self-employment, but double your income. That's the first real reason to think about this. Give credibility and establish yourself as an expert. So there's a couple ways we can talk about products. We can talk about the ones that you generate and sell, which is important. We can talk about just selling products that you don't generate, just becoming a reseller. And this is so current for me because 2 days ago I gave a keynote at a conference and I set up my sales booth. And I was the only presenter to do this, but I had confirmed it in my contract that I could sell my books. To my surprise, no other speakers did this. With only 25 people in the audience, we sold $750 in sales. We sell my products, some of which I created and some of which Hal Leonard publishes and Sounds True publishes. So I buy them at an author price, which is even less than an artist price. It's even less than, a wholesale price. So if you're a retailer, which all it takes is a resale license, and you can be a retailer, and you want to resell things, you get the wholesale price, which is typically 50% off. So one thing I buy and sell is the High Spirits flutes. I'll show you the one that I sell the most successfully. I picked this one flute. And what I found is, sorry, I'm just going to talk as I run over here. Oh yeah. What I found is it's great to not try to sell 10 different things because the consumers I'm in front of are new to music. So I just chose this. It's called the Sparrowhawk Cedar A flute. Retails for $150 and I sell it for $135. And I play it in my workshop. The important thing is High Spirits does make a cheaper version of this. A more entry level, as we would say. But I chose this one because I think it's got a great quality sound and I'm happy to play it. Oh, good. Hi, Jenny and Lulu are here too. Good. And I'm happy to play it in my workshop, which sells it without me needing to say anything. It's just on my table, comes with a booklet. These are very reliable flutes and they have a great wholesale program. And that's the story of that. So that's not even an instrument that I created. The markup on selling this, we buy this at $75 and we're selling it at $135. So you can do the math on that. I actually made more money by selling one flute 2 days ago at the keynote than selling like 5 of my books. But why did I put down the third thing? It gives credibility and establishes you as an expert. Just having a book establishes you as an expert. Now, everything we're going to talk about tonight, we can also talk about digital because we're living in the digital knowledge age. And so you can sell an online course or a digital ebook, which you can publish yourself. You don't even need to go through what I did 17 years ago, getting The Art and Heart of Drum Circles published, my first book. And actually my first product was called Body Beat, is called Body Beat. And that game has a story that I should tell. But first, ask yourself, what service you do that could become a product? And I want you to chat this on the chat bar. The reason it's easy to go from service to product, you can also go from product to service. These guys are interchangeable. But first, let me make sure everybody understands the difference. Service is your time, your skill. You're going to present a workshop. You're doing a training. You're doing a drum circle. That's a service. Product is when somebody purchases an item. Bang, they hand me money, I hand them that item. It's not my time or it's not my time that they're purchasing or my event or my workshop. That's a service. They're purchasing the product. That applies to digital. They are purchasing an ebook for $9.95 online. right? They're purchasing an online course. So that also applies to digital. So just to clarify products and services, it's everybody understand that. Not raise your hand if you don't understand any piece of that, because that's pretty preliminary for this whole conversation. Everybody's on board for that? Okay, good. So who's on the call who has a product is Lulu. Lulu has, that I know of, I mean, maybe some of you also have products, but Lulu I know has, I'm gonna unmute her for 1 second. Do you want to just,
Oh, 1, 2, let's all play. It's a book for preschool and primary children, teachers and parents and grandparents, people working with kids.
which she co-authored
With Mary Knish.
Knish, and the company that underwrote it was Rhythm Band, or who's distributing it, right?
They're distributing it in the States, yeah.
Right.
And,
So so Lulu put together all the pieces. She got a co-author, she wrote it. They're old school printing it and selling it, but it's great that they have a distributor. And then Lulu just went and successfully did what I'm teaching you tonight. She delivered a service and she sold her product, right, Lulu?
Yeah, I did.
And can you tell us how many books you sold?
So I sold, how many did I sell? I sold 9 at the conference in the training that I did in Lethbridge, but then I sold some on Amazon because they didn't want to buy the hard copy. So I did sell some. I'm not really sure yet because I've just gone live on Amazon and all the, digitally in the last little while, in the last 2 weeks. So, so it's all online now. It's all, it's all on digital.
So let's give Lulu some love. I mean, I just think it's awesome that she did it. She combined them all. She changed her income status because she wasn't just paid. And the great thing about Lulu's example, so she was brought in to teach a workshop by a university. So she's paid a fee, a workshop fee. Now the great thing is the participants are buying her book.
Yeah.
Right? So the agency is not forking out more money. She's increasing her income through the purchases of the participants. So what a win-win-win.
Yeah, it was good.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to respond to a couple things people posted. I really wanted to mention Jenny sells instruments. Wow, I didn't know you did that. Tell us what you sell.
Oops.
I unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I can't see everybody anymore. I can just see myself really big.
Because I spotlighted your video. Because
Okay.
I'm producing a video for post-production over here.
Okay. I sell a variety of instruments. I have sound shapes that have the drum logo imprinted on them. And I also sell a variety of world percussion instruments, small djembes, rain sticks, frog rasps, that kind of stuff.
But where do you buy them?
The sound shapes I get through Remo, and the other instruments, there's a woman I know that imports instruments from Bali here in the Bay Area, and I have a relationship with her, and she sells to me wholesale. Brilliant. And then so then I mark it up and sell them at my programs.
Yay! And as you noted on the chat bar, it's long overdue for you to make other things. Like a CD or something, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm really, yeah. And so we'll talk about, I mean, it's a huge investment in time, energy, can be money. And so really trying to figure out what it is that I specifically have to offer that isn't already out there, that's
Don't
worth
think that way.
doing. Don't think that way.
Nope. Okay, so I'm just going to mute you and comment back. And just to explain that when you guys are talking, I often spotlight your video because I am kind of producing the post-production video, so the people who aren't here right now get to watch a video where they get to not just see me, basically. When I spotlight your video in the production of it, when it goes to video on the cloud from Zoom, they'll see different people. That's why. So basically, that was great that you said that, because it's a common common way to think that won't serve you. Doesn't matter. You doing it your way, even if you made a play along CD, it's your style, it's your sound, it's your creative title. It might be because you're an artist, it might have an art component to it. Maybe it's your cover design. So even though you're doing something that other people have done, when you do it your way and you sell it to your audience, because you're in front of people that I'm not in front of or that nobody else is in front of, that's what it is. It's your signature product. So we don't have to think that way. We don't have to think that we're competing with a market when we're selling it to clients, because it's different than trying to get into a store and have to be different than everything else. This is a product directly to your people. And also, Diana, you have great product. I remember you shared stuff with us the other day that was adorable. It was like last session about your card, and it had a reminder on it. And you're full of great ideas that could become products, which we'll talk about. And Tricia said 30 days to think like a poet. That's a great hooky title. 30 days of exercises, prompts, and pre-recorded lectures to get you seeing the world like a master writer. That deserves an applause. And I don't know if that's an online course or an actual product. I liked everything except for seeing the world. I would just say to becoming a master writer so that it's less passive. Okay. Anybody else? One new message. Oh, can I ask a question? Let's come to the questions in a minute. Okay, thanks for asking that, because I want to just cover a little more content and then we'll come to your question, Diana. No problem. Okay, I'm wondering there's a couple more people on the phone that I don't know who they are. Oh, okay, got it. Thanks for showing your, I'm like, who is that? All right, so let's go through the handout. So we talked about how products can create a service, service can create a product. Let me explain that for one clear example. So in Lulu's case, she taught a service and she sold a product, but they weren't actually partners. Like she wasn't like a lot of us have seen. Simon Faulkner is out on the road doing a workshop that is an exact parallel of his book called Rhythm to Recovery. So that's a good example of where he took a program. Oh, okay, that's who it is. Thank you. He took a program, his work, he created a book, he published the book, he got a publisher, and is selling it on Amazon, and now he's workshopping it. So that's a great classic example of where you can practically require the book, as I know Arthur Hall does, because the book is exactly woven with the workshop. So a basic model of this would be you have a workshop. Maybe this is how Tricia came up with her 30-day program and the prompts, is she took the poetry salon that she's been running and she monetized it a second way into a product. Then you get to actually remonetize that product, because maybe she wrote a book and now she's going to create the online video course. So right now we live in this explosive time. I'm offering something new coming up next year using some new formats as well, new platforms like teachable.com. There's new platforms right now that make this all very user-friendly. And you can get software to create these webinar style workshops. So the workshop market is moving from you have to come or I have to fly out there to this digital system. So whether it was Jenny creating a 1 hour webinar for whatever price she prices it at, $4.95 on combining art with drumming, whatever it is, this is our time to step into those kind of add-on products. So that's an example of products and services. But I mean, service is creating a product, but here's a product creating a service. When I did the healing drum kit, I didn't even think of it as a workshop, but I created a workshop out of that product. So they really do go both directions. So sometimes you don't just title it the same thing either. Like the healing drum kit wouldn't really match as a workshop title. But because that product was out there, I created the Change Your Life Through Rhythm workshop, facilitation workshop. So that title didn't have to be, hit you over the head match. It just said, and we're referencing this product, which we recommend, recommended materials. That's another thing, Lulu, you can do in the future is really put that right out there on your advertising, recommended product. One of the first times I understood the value of how this income generates income exponentially is when I first took Speak and Grow Rich from the Learning Annex with Dottie Walters. And Dottie, we paid $95 for this class. It was a 4-hour workshop. And then I got there and Dottie says, well, if you want the materials, it's at the back of the room and it's $9.95. Guess what percentage of the room bought the workshop materials, right? Like 100% pretty much. Paid $10 to her for a mimeographed 10-page handout. I bought it, right? And now she could have done, if you want the ebook that goes through all the things I'm going to teach today, it's available at, this, and you could have uploaded it. But she was smart to not let you think that just because you bought the admission to the program, you were going to get the handout. She made the handout a product. And I was sitting there, and this is like 17 years ago, going, wow, that's so smart. Way to double your income. Because again, the Learning Annex paid her as a workshop presenter, but then the participants all paid her out of their pockets for that product. So I think that's making sense to you, Diana, because you could be selling that product to the people that are at your workshop under a separate performance. So that's something to think about. So let's talk about branding, because one thing that's important is products are branding. That's one of the biggest reasons we want to sell them, because they brand us. They brand you. Jenny's got a great example. She sells a sound shape with her logo on it, right? So there's a branding moment. I sell the flute. That brands me as not just the drum girl. So everything you put in your store is branding. For one of my other early experiences of understanding this from an income generating standpoint was when maybe 6 years ago, I started doing these retreats, Rhythm, Nature, and the Soul up in the Redwoods. And I thought right away, I gotta have a product. And kind of like Jenny, I thought, who do I know that wholesale is a cool product that people need in the forest in a retreat? And it ended up being water bottles. So I have a friend who created the Ohm water Ohm. It's called H2 Ohm. And they had these beautiful water bottles, and I know them from the Gratitude Cruise. I called them and they sold me a stock, 50% off. I sold out of them. And I think I made $10 a sale because they were beautiful. And they all said peace, love, and happiness. And who doesn't need a water bottle when you're in the forest at high altitude? So that was just strategic thinking of, okay, what do people need? Deborah, you're teaching at this 120 women are at a retreat with you. And you just say, hey, I'd like to bring these signature, they don't always have to be our brand, was what I learned, but it's related to my brand. H2 Ohm was water with intention. And it fit my brand, upbeat, right? So you don't want to be the one showing up with something unrelated to your brand. Okay, so product development, let's talk about this. Because if you've ever had the thought, and as somebody said, Jenny said very accurately, it's time consuming. And sometimes it's not our usual skill set. If we're presenters, we're not used to, I have to slow down, organize it, write it, edit it, all those steps. So first you can think about what's hot in the marketplace. And I always start with market research. And where do you do market research for your products? Do you go to a music store? My favorite places are online magazine sales. I often call my publisher, Sounds True, and I just ask, probably twice a year, I ask the director of sales, what's hot? So I did that a week ago. And to my surprise, what's hot is yoga materials for children, mindfulness materials for children. So he's like, why don't you write a kid's book about a girl who discovers drumming and it's healing? He's like, that would sell, which I'm not doing, but it was just interesting for me to hear from the insider You ask an insider, in other words, what's selling. Third, I go to these bookstores that are kind of alternative bookstores. You guys are nodding. Yeah, that's a great place to do market research. If we're selling to the wellness market, let's go find out what they're buying. Hence, the Healing Drum Kit has a deck of rhythm cards because cards are in and they don't seem to be going away. I now have 4 different decks of the angel cards, right? And those of us who are at the music medicine training all have the crazy love cards, which are wonderful, created by a woman who's a survivor of cancer. And she took the affirmations that got her through cancer and she made a product out of her illness. Now that's monetizing. She partnered with an artist and she sells them herself, and they're wonderful. They're really wonderful. I have one right here. I have tons of them right here, but I like this one. They look like this. Share your gifts. Little message on the back. So cards are hot. I've got the Body Beat cards. I've got the Healing Drum cards. Cards are in. So you want to think about what's hot digitally as well. And in music, how can we track on Spotify what's selling? You know, that's easier to track. But the thing I didn't put on here that you should write down is asking your market. One of the biggest things you can do is just ask. You know, Philip, you just ask the director of the program, is there any materials you wish you had that I could supply for you? What would you want to buy if I was selling a tool? What would be a toolkit that you could create for this summer workshop for the kids to take home with them? Because it would sell to the parents. You know, this is the people to ask is our clients, is our people who come, right, Gail, who come to the Gong programs. Ask them. How many people would be, how I do it is just say, how many people would be interested if I had a CD that could replicate this experience tonight? How many of you would be interested? Or sell tracks online, which is the way it is now on CD Baby or iTunes. But that is a good way to start to assess the information. And how many of you who are yoga teachers would be interested in an afternoon workshop on integrating the Gong with yoga? Right? So asking builds interest and teaches us. And as Jenny said, and I'm affirming this, product creation is a slower process. But I hope I'm showing you today on this call why it's worth it. It's worth it because it adds income. It's worth it because it's your brand extension, and especially because it establishes you as an expert. The minute you say, I'm the author of, and it could be something you published, an ebook. You know, the minute you say, I'm Lulu Leafly, I'm the author of, but not the author of, I'm the author of 1, 2, Let's All Play, a handbook to using rhythm games and whatever her tagline is. I'm the co-author of, right? Don't you feel the difference in that? There's a level of expertise. I'm Philip Didlake. I'm the founder of Rhythmic Innovation and the creator of the, and a composer of, or a recording artist of fill in the blank. You know, especially because we're musicians, all of us have that tool of recording tracks. I was thinking somebody could partner with Trisha to do music to write poetry to. That would be fun. You know, it starts to get fun when you understand how this works and how it adds on to your brand and your money, because you're now selling to another stream. Resale license required, we talked about that. I'm just going through the handout that says product development. It's a sales funnel. 2 choices to pitch or self-publish. Let me just comment on that because I've been through the pitching process and it's full of rejection and can be very demoralizing and hard when you're pitching something to a publisher or an agent. These days you have to get an agent even to get to a publisher. So the book industry is going through phenomenal change, and not everybody can write Harry Potter or has that hot, you know, thing, but they're looking for that next author. And in the meantime, there is 2 paths, just so you know: the self-publishing or recording, or pitching to a major label, or the middle ground that I didn't write on this handout, which I will mark for future, distribution, which is what Lulu did. And Sounds True does that too. They distribute audio. So I'll add that, distribution. Because if you can get a distributor who says, like West Music distributes Body Beat, my game. So I sell Body Beat wholesale to them, and then they sell it in their catalog, and they take it to conferences. And they go to lots of conferences that I want to be selling at. So, product failure story. Okay, last thing, and then I'll open it up for comments and questions. This is a great, I don't mean this as a slam on another person's product, but I am going to compare Body Beat that I created. You guys, I think, know Body Beat. Probably everybody has played it with Christine Stevens because I play it everywhere I go and I really love it. Compared to Robert Lawrence Freeman, who wrote the Scat Cards. They're wonderful, but he's still printing them on a printer at his house and laminating them himself. So they're clunky, they're sharp, they're held together with a rubber band, they're not in a box. And he doesn't wholesale them, so you can only get them from him. So they look, I mean, that's an okay stage of production when you're making a product. You're making it yourself. I know John Scalisi just came out with wonderful facilitation card deck. I haven't seen the product, whether it's in a box or it's just, but it's really worth taking a little time on packaging. Even if you're just going to string it with a nice, raffia string, just to give it some aspect of, it's not just a rubber band, you want it to look professional. Let me open it up if there's comments or questions, and I have one last teaching piece about cross-selling. So does anybody have a question or comment? Oh, Lulu posted, I used Page 2 Publishing here in Vancouver, who put our book online. Oh, good, so you have another distributor called Page 2 Publishing, right? But also helps people get their stuff out from the beginning to publishing. Right, there's a lot of groups now, places where you can use their services to put out an ebook. Exactly, there's never been a better time. I mean, 15, 17 years ago, I had to pitch these things to companies and go through the rejection process very frequently. And if you think I'm good at publishing products, you have no idea how many have been turned down that I've proposed. Recently, I had the proposal of something called Elemental Rhythms, which was a CD that honored kind of what Deborah and I was just talking about, earth, air, water, and fire with different rhythms and sounds, a frame drum meditation CD. That was turned down by Sounds True, but at least they thought about it. And I ran it through, I produced 4 sample tracks to pitch it. But I don't want to do it without a distributor because I think it's a lot harder to do on my own. So at any rate, those are the things. Anybody have a question? Raise your hand. Oh, good. Janelle, got you. I'll unmute
Hi,
you.
I have a big question. You mentioned resale license.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, resale license. I've been told I need an EIN. What's the difference? And could you just hit the hip? That would be so great.
What's an EIN?
I believe it's an employment identification number, which enables you actually establish a business license per se, right? But when you said resale, I thought, well, maybe I just need to do that because I also have a bunch of products as well.
Correct. The EIN is just if you're incorporated. So if they ask for that, you could also give your social security number as a what's it called? Sole proprietor.
So you can actually purchase a resale license, is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't cost much. I mean, I think in the state of California, I think it cost me $95.
Great, thanks for the information. I had no idea.
And you only buy it once.
That's awesome. Per state?
You only need one state. Wherever your business is established, that's where you want to get your resale license.
Fantastic.
So
You
just-
just enlightened my world. Thank you.
You're in Pennsylvania, right?
I am. Rhythm Games is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Rhythm
and
Games. You should be selling games.
I know. I have a lot of products actually. I'm up, although it's not official. The page isn't fully working, but basically I've come out and reintroduced myself, which I couldn't have done without you. Thank you so much, Christine. These 2 courses have been amazing in seeing myself differently. And I look forward to sharing the products and the services that go hand in hand with you guys. And just amazing. I mean, I just feel so much great gratitude towards you because you've just opened my eyes to things I never could have seen any other way and any other place. And being in the biz is one thing, but you're sharing a real an intimate thing, the exact things we need to know in a way
Aw,
that you can't get anywhere. So thank you.
my pleasure. And I'm looking forward to you getting your resale license. I think that's going to really rock your world. And just that is all you need. And a Square. I sell with the Square. Square.com. It hooks into your phone.
Right, exactly. That's what we want to do, right? One quick other question around not so much product, but well, in a way, because if you're expanding your business, I'm at this point where, you know, part of what you've been so great in helping us to do is not just do the great successes and the new things, which is so exciting to see Jenny and everyone doing all these new things, but you helped me to see what I don't want to do anymore in the same way. And that was huge because I've been doing the $100, $150 the children's programs, which are more social work, and it's a never-ending story, you know. And when you started taking value of yourself and have you asked for a raise, I started seeing that maybe I could, and I think Jenny might have, maybe Jenny, I don't know if you work with other people, if anyone does, but I'm almost at this point where I want to go back to the music schools and find young music therapists and sort of get them as assistants. And I'm a little interested in that, but I'm also concerned about liability around that.
Okay. Well, let me comment on that. I super appreciate that question. And we're going to talk about that next session, actually, about
Hang on it. Thanks.
chunking, pruning, and branching. But basically, getting someone to represent you is a threshold you're probably ready to walk through. And there's just some pieces to what that feels like and how you find someone and how you prep them. The biggest failure is not prepping them correctly. And people don't do that enough, is to go slow and gradual. So you bring somebody on a few gigs first, and then you observe them doing something. It's really important to do a weaving experience. It's not just, hey, can you go do that gig because you've taken Health Rhythms training? Like, there's still a level of what's your brand. And so it's an opportunity to ask yourself, like, I don't want to just maybe find me, but who represents my brand? You know, that's the key. If I'm Upbeat Drum Circles, I got great facilitators I know, but they don't have upbeat energy. So I have to really tend to my brand. But we'll talk more about that next time. But so bottom line is, the Square is a great tool. You plug it into your phone and you swipe cards. And yes, they'll take a percentage. I don't mind that, because let me tell you, I have to just pay, at the end of this month, I have to pay my California sales tax for the last year. I just went to Square.com, put in the date of the whole year, and it told me immediately how much I've charged in California state tax. Like, no bookkeeper needed. It just saved me a lot of money. And it's just me taking money from that consumer and paying it back to the state of California. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, go ahead. I will spotlight. I'm going to spotlight you, Diana. Go ahead.
One of my questions is, like, yes, I created the gift card, and it was, you know, something I, you know, did on Pinterest at home. I think my thing is going to the level where I'm charging for a project as opposed to creating something that's a part of the workshop. I think that's where my kind of blocks come in, because I do like to have things. The gift card was something I created to go along as a part of that workshop experience. So I think, again, for me, where do, like, I have bookmarks that go with my Dare to Dream thing, which are nice, and I think I can level them in terms of printing. And I had even the gift cards I went and printed at a printer, so it wasn't just me printing out stuff. But where do I go to the up level, for the lack of a better word, and say, okay, I've created this product now. Get some ideas of germinating, like.
Sure, I can
maybe-
answer that.
Yeah.
And I love your shirt. That's just a work of art.
Actually, it's a dress.
Oh, wow. It's so, I was going to say, just design the cards based on that fabric.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, you know, I think I could work, because one of my best friends is a beautiful artist, so I think it's something we could collaborate and be passive income for
Right.
both of us, because I'd rather collaborate and split than something that I'm doing with clip art. And-
Okay, let me answer those questions. These apply to everybody.
Okay.
I'm going to mute you while I answer and spotlight myself. So basically, great questions. First thing I would say for you is if you choose to make a freebie, which is great. I just did this at a conference. I did a freebie track, audio track. And I said, that's one track from the CD that's for sale in the back of the room. So if you said, here's your one card, if you'd like the full deck of 10 cards, they're in the back of the room. So that's one middle ground. The other choice that I think that helps, oh, okay, somebody just got in from the phone because the link isn't working on the computer. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Sarah Jane, the other thing that's really good for you, it's gonna help you through the threshold, Diana, is if you have someone else selling. The thing is, we never feel comfortable. I'm speaking for myself. I don't feel as comfortable selling as when I'm presenting. So what I do is, oh, you have to add 4 to the link. I'm sorry if I messed up the link. User error. What I do is I get a volunteer to sell. It made all the difference for me. Just huge difference. And you can ask, I told Lula to do that when she taught her conference. I said, just hand someone your pile of books, hand them your phone with the square, you know, or if they're going to take checks and cash, it's even easier, hand them the bag and with change in it. And you just say, could you run my store? It's really important that it's not always feeling like it's you making the transaction. Sometimes that helps you as well. Okay, then let's talk for a second about Diana's ideas around product development. 50-50 is a choice. It's a lot more work. I would really recommend for you to sub-pay that artist and just pay them off, which might mean you trade or you just pay their fee if they have an hourly rate, or if it's a friend and they do a friendship price, you know. I do that with people. I do trades. I do all kinds of things. But then you own it. I want you to own your product. Okay, it really makes life easier. I can tell you that because I still pay a little bit to Sammy Kay, who helped me make Body Beat Rhythms. And it's a lot of work every year. At the end of the year, I got to do the accounting and figure out the wholesale versus the retail. It's admin that I don't like doing. So lesson from the wise, own the product. Better to pay the studio time, pay the graphics person, and you own it, because here's the thing, you don't know where you're going to use it. So own it so that you can not just sell it and produce it. Like, who knows where you may want to use it? You might want to, Lulu might want to, you know, do something with one of the chapters of her book. So she wants to be the author. You know, she wants to own that aspect. I don't own Music Medicine, and I just had to buy the rights to record the Audible for Music Medicine, which I'm thrilled to record. I want it to be my voice, you know, and I want to get on that platform, but that wasn't included. And so technically, according to our contract, they own Music Medicine, right? They paid me to write it. So I had to pay them. Isn't it funny the way the world works? I wrote that book. I have to pay you to be able to read it, but it's because I'm making another product, right? So everything takes new contracts. So I have a new contract with them. When I coach you guys, this is a product, right? This program, this Mentoring Level 2 is a product. So I copywrote this program to the Library of Congress. I paid $45 and I copywrote this mentoring program because I want to own it. So you want to own your product. If you need a logo or a graphic for it, pay someone. Don't try doing percentages. Okay, that's the end of that lecture. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'll do the last section that's on the handout, unless somebody else had a comment. Sarah Jane, okay, please, go ahead. Go ahead, honey.
I had a question about the importance of a hard copy versus just digital. So specifically as far as like a CD or a DVD, in this day and age, what's the importance? Obviously, it's a lot more to have that product that you can hand. I had a conversation with you at conference and you were selling me a CD and I was like, I don't even have a CD player. But a lot of people, I still have parents. Yeah, I would love to buy it from you, but I just don't even have a CD player. But I have a lot of parents that still will ask me, you know, well, I want the CD to put in my car. You know, I just don't know, like, from your experience and others' experience, like, you know, I'm creating this product. It's going to be a digital thing, but how much importance should I put on actually having the hard product and packaging?
Can
everything?
You tell us what is the product you're creating?
Well, I mentioned before that I have a YouTube presence where I have do music for little kids and but also music tools for other therapists, parents, and educators. And so I get a lot of comments and a lot of, you know, people asking me for my songs. These are songs that I own, songs that I've written, you know, to do like a CD or package it or do like listen, learn music and have, you know, like automatic downloads and stuff like that. But, you know, I've thought about doing a DVD, you know, and I've thought about doing a CD of this music and just don't know whether I need to actually go through the process of actually having a hard copy of it and distribution and stuff when I could do that online.
Got it. Can you remind us of the URL of your YouTube channel?
Yes, it's Sarah Jane Sings. YouTube.com/Sarah Jane Sings.
Sings.
Yeah.
Okay. So I remembered that you have like a huge following there. Okay, so let me answer that. Number one, it was great that she said, I'm hearing from the people that they want this. That's what I heard. And that's my point, right? When it's market demand and you're doing market fulfillment, you're not creating something and pushing it out there, which so many people do. They just dream up a product. They spend money on the product. They never checked if anybody wants it. So if you're getting market demand, that's really great. And that's the person you want to ask this question to. Would you want it in a CD form? Would you want it as a digital download? Now, right now at CD Baby, I just did this. I launched a digital CD, all digital, never printed a CD of it. And what they sent me that was beautiful for very cheap, for 100 for like, I think it was under $20, was the sticker. So the sticker is what I sell. So I sell that sticker for $9.95 and it's a download card. But it's bigger than the card, it's the cover of a CD size because I've been tracking how download cards sell. They don't sell well. The CD cover feels like you're getting more. And the concept of that is you go to the download page and you burn it or you put it in your computer and now you can take that pretty picture as if you have it sticking on a CD label. That's the concept. The truth is we're in between that phase. The truth is we have to think about both right now because someday we will be able to just put it up on a screen and people will just point their phones at it and grab it from the code, right? Because you can do it that way too. You can just put the code on a slide in a presentation and just people can grab it that way. But in the meantime, I think it's always going to be good to have a flyer or a print or a postcard. So even if you do just 100% digital, get a postcard, get a CD Baby sticker. Those things give people that hands-on product feeling. And it doesn't hurt to make a short run of CDs because there are still people who are using CD players. It's also the place that you want to sell it to probably does. Parents who have a CD player in their kitchen, right? So you have to think about your market. So I would say yes to both. And I think it's really exciting to do this because you have a demand and you want to make sure, here's my point here. Let's just dive into this, cross-selling and upselling. You want to make sure you really cross-sell that. So you've got this YouTube channel with a following. So you need to make a YouTube video where you sing a couple songs and you tell about the product. right? So that they cross-pollinate, and on the CD, put the, not just the URL, but the picture of the link, the code to join the YouTube channel. Join the over 10,000 subscribers or whatever, you know, name drop on that one, who belong. Okay, thank you. Also, let's check in with Trisha. Trisha, do you want to say something more about your product?
Yes, hello. Sorry I can't get the video to work, but I'm enjoying listening to everyone. Yeah, so I am creating a program that would be 30 days of writing prompts. And every writing prompt I give an example of a famous poem that kind of incorporates the writing technique that I'm talking about. And I don't know if I need, you know, when I give them in class, I don't need to get permission from anybody because it's an educational tool and I'm sharing them in a class setting, and that's fine. But if I were to start selling a product that uses someone else's written work, I feel like there's probably some stricter guidelines about copyright and getting permissions from the author.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's worth a conversation.
Yeah.
If it's somebody, like, for example, here's an idea for you.
Yeah.
Another person I coached one-on-one, he's a psychologist, and he was always finding that he was recommending books to people. So he was thinking about making a store where he would stack the books, and I was like, no. So we found out he could make an Amazon store. So he just sends people to his Amazon store where your recommended poetry prompt books. Here's Mary Oliver, here's David White, you know, you would choose, you would basically aggregate or curate your own little Amazon store. And you don't pay anything. They're still buying them through Amazon, they're still getting their Prime shipping, but you're getting a hit, a kickback, a percentage, because it's your online Amazon store.
Interesting.
So that's an example of how you wouldn't be violating any of that.
Yeah.
Which of course I don't think you would be, but I'm interested to know, is this course that you're cooking up, I really think it's very marketable, and is it a print, or you said it's a combination of video and print?
It could be either, but yeah, so I know someone who does something called Poetry Boot Camp, where she sends a writing prompt to her students every day, and then they write in response, and then they return their prompt, and it's all done online. And I'm also looking at Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, where she has, I think, 12 video lectures, and you know, you buy access and you can see all 12 of her lectures, plus she gives you writing prompts, or she gives you, you know, exercises to do. So I wanted to create something like that. And honestly, it could be purely print. It could be purely email. It could be lectures on the craft of poetry. I like to talk, and I like to engage with people and talk with them. So I would like it to be kind of a lecture series with accompanying writing prompts that you could get online. Without any print, without any actual paper and trees being cut down.
I have a quick comment, really quick to interrupt. First of all, notice that what she's explaining, you guys, because I want you to really get the concept of this tonight. The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron wrote this book. How many of us know this book? Oh, good. Great book. Now look what she's doing. She's monetizing what she already did. You see? She's monetizing a book by making the 12 video lectures, because we want Julia, right? We want Julia. We want more than just Julia's book. We want the book to come alive. We want to meet her. We want to see her face. We want to hear her voice. We want her to inspire us to be creative. So how smart it was. And I don't know the price point. Maybe you do.
$149 for the whole series.
Okay. So let's consider what she made selling the book. It's a hilarious example of the difference right now in the digital age. She probably made, I'm guessing, $2.50 on a sale of that book, if she's lucky. Right? She published it with Tarja Putnam, which I think is her husband, right? Or something, she's related to them. But the point is, She got the typical book deal where it's a small percentage. You get my point. Now she's making 100% of $150. You see? Because she's selling it and she's marketing it. And she just jumped on her brand. She didn't write any content, right? She's just speaking it. And we get to keep 12 videos. And 12 is a great number. It wasn't like 200 videos. It's 12 videos. It feels doable. People are doing lots of research. I could do a whole other seminar on digital products. I'm coaching with a digital product expert right now because it's such a big field that I want to learn about and I want to launch some digital products. So all of this, my point is a perfect example what you just shared about Julia Cameron. So my advice to you would be don't start worrying yet about what format it's going to be. Start with content. This is advice for everyone on this call. Start with content. Right? Okay. That's your next step, Sarah Jane. Which songs? It's how do we micromanage this? Gail, it's like which gongs, which series, how long do you like? We have to start to step into the content. Then we can say, does it want to be both? It might be that you do the ebook that's free and then you sell the video course. You know what I mean? This is how it works. Or you might give away a chapter and give away a free demo of chapter 1 out of the 30 days, day 1. So that's how this works. So you don't have to worry yet. It's just the content stage. That's the stage we're in first. We're in content. And then we start to say, could it be this format or this format? Yes to both? Okay, it looks like I'm going to produce both. Why not? Why not the book and the video series? Let's face it, we now live in the era where people are making their choices how they want to learn. They're choosing Audible. You can also put it on Audible. That's probably the way I would choose it. Yeah. I'd probably want to hear you read it, right? So you can produce it, post it on Audible and sell it that way. You can be selling it on iTunes. So once the content is set, you feel good about those 30-day program. I like the 30 days. Daily Ohm. Have you guys been tracking what Daily Ohm is selling right now? They're the big sellers and they do a donation. You select how much you want to pay for your courses. They have a minimum price, usually $25, and the person can choose what they want to pay. Deepak Chopra did one of their series, by the way. What they're finding is the 21-day program on audio and an email. So there's some people that aren't even doing video. They're doing audio only. So that's something to think about too for you, because you might want the audio only version, where people just hear you. That would be Audible. So the videos could be complementary to that. So I think it's a nice hooky title. Then let's go to the next step for you. Since you have a nice title and you have a concept, next step for you is to focus group it. So what I did with Music Medicine is I tested all my content on people. And I didn't do it for free, I charged them. I charged them $20 a session and I did a series of 4 sessions at the Remo Center. So we met every Sunday for 2.5 hours and I made $20 a person while I tested my material on my book because I wanted to get some real live feedback, and that totally informed my book. And I limited it to 20 people and I did surveys afterwards. I did interviews with people. I really learned from them how to make my book better. So it's good to invest some time and energy and do some samples. Like Jenny, if you want to make a CD, it's great to do some samples and get some feedback. So then we really know we're selling something that is people respond to correctly. There's a little phase of that kind of editing. Julia Cameron has a great story of how she developed The Artist Way with a partner. And they did workshops for years before they wrote the book. And it was from the workshops that they formatted the book better and better. So, but what I love about this Julia Cameron example is that it just shows you that one good idea. She had that one good idea back then. That seed is making money for her, right? Because then she had the Artist Way training programs. She capitalized, she monetized that on every level. I'm surprised there's not an Artist Way TV channel by now. They should. I would go to that. I've been doing storytelling music circles based on myths and fables, but told in my own way. Would I be able to write little books to sell to parents or children in the program as a reminder? Why not? Of course. You're not writing the fables, but you're referencing them, but told in your own way. I think that sounds safe, but I'm not a copyright lawyer, but maybe you'd have to give us a little more deeper understanding of that. Storytelling music circles. So Deborah, would that be a recorded product?
I'm thinking that I would probably create a little book. I would probably write it as a book and maybe have drawings and that to hand out to kids so they can have it as a bedtime storybook. The only reason I'm thinking that is because when I do the storytelling circles, it's very interactive. And I have a lot of props that I use for the kids to participate in the story. And so when I'm telling the story and they're going through the motions of playing the parts. And so I'm not really sure how that would carry over for them to have a keepsake.
I can answer that. That's a great thought. What came to me was how to tell stories with music. How to do storytelling with music. Because everybody has the stories, right? The parents all have stories. What parent doesn't read to their kid? So then you're just adding, here's my booklet starting with an example, and then you do your own, right? So you give them 10 steps of how to do your own. That I think would be sellable. But again, you would ask the people there. And what felt better to me would be a video. I could see a video of this because it's interactive. We could see her. You know, there's a new thing that you could all look at. I'll send you the link. Kevin Spacey's teaching on it, this platform. Steve Martin is teaching on this platform. I think it's called mastermind.com. It's an online learning program. The course is around $150. Christina Aguilera is teaching a class on how to sing on this platform. And the reason I know about it is Jane Goodall's doing the one on being conservationist. And basically what they did is they filmed Jane teaching 4 people. So it's not just me on camera telling you, it's you watching me interacting with those people. So I think if you already do that with your storytelling, because the fables are not your creation is how you wove music and story. So if you created something out of that concept, that would be a product that could teach a parent how to bring music into your stories, that I could see. Yeah. Okay, anybody else questions? I'm gonna bring it to an end. Raise your hand or wave or write in the chat bar. Okay, gotcha. Nice.
Can I have,
Go ahead, Gail.
can I have the worksheet sent to me?
The what sheet?
The worksheet that has the questions, the topics that we're going over?
Yes, you don't have that?
I don't. I look back at my emails and nothing was attached.
So, but there's one from the beginning of this course that has every class.
Oh, that has everything? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm square then.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I just wanted to make it
Thanks.
easier, but it ended up that everybody
Yeah.
would have rather had it each session, so I learned that.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
I'll go back and check and make sure.
Okay.
Did you get any ideas about products today?
I was thinking maybe a small gong or just doing the MP3, one of the two.
I think an MP3 would be really consistent with your brand.
Yeah.
And it could be the place where your work comes together, because I was
Mhm.
even thinking that it could be a drumming track and then a gong track.
You know, sometimes when I'm practicing, I'm keeping like a bass beat with my foot and it sounds so cool. Yeah, just trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, that's kind of back to what Jenny was saying, like, what can I bring to the market that isn't there yet? And that would be a nice example of something that could be unique.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, anybody else? Comments or questions? We haven't heard from Philip, so let's check in with him.
I'm still brainstorming some ideas. Yeah, maybe I was thinking like one of those little small handheld chimes, you know, like a mindfulness chime to help. You know, that's something you can bring into the classroom. A kid can get in front of the class and lead the students in a breathing exercise before they take tests or something like this. But yeah.
Beautiful. Let me comment on that. I like that idea a lot. So here's what I would suggest when you're doing something like that, which is you're going to basically buy it wholesale somewhere, find a supplier, then you have this chime to sell. So a couple tips for that. Can you personalize it? Right? Could you, with a Sharpie, write Rhythm Innovation on the bottom? Or could you, do something? Like a friend of mine took frame drums that were not sounding as good, and she put stencils and just used Sharpies, and they look like works of art. And I watched people, she was next to me, and she sold out. And I was like, damn, that was smart, girl. You just got a stencil and some Sharpies and like sat there and decorated the drums, and they sold out.
Yeah.
So, because people just wanted the look of them, visual. We're more a visual culture than we are sound, which is kind of back to Sarah Jane's question, why people like to see that postcard they're buying, because we're visual. So, but what you could do is personalize that chime. Maybe there's a message underneath it. Maybe you type out a little what to say to start and, to do a mindfulness practice, and it's taped to the bottom of it. Or another idea is you get the free PDF of 3 scripts for how to use a chime in your classroom, right? So that's a combined products and service. Wow. So I buy the chime today, and I'll email you the PDF, or I have it and I print it and I hand it to them. Look, I've created this. It goes with the chime. It's 3 sample scripts of how to use the chime in your classroom.
Wow.
Make sense?
Yep.
And it's branded with Rhythm Innovation. And the thing I like about rhythmic innovation is you can be like, I want to find the teachers that want to innovate in their school.
Yep.
Here's the mindfulness chime.
Yep. Wow, that's helpful. Thank you.
You really can brand that.
Yep.
So just in bringing us to kind of a closing, what else I wrote here is having a good name for something, like the mindfulness chime right away hooked me a little bit. Right? So these are great names I included. Group Boom Whackers, right? Was that a great name or what? Boom Whackers. It wasn't educational music tubes. And I happen to know the whole story of how they came up with that name, because I was eating dinner with Craig once and he told me it came from a Chinese cookie, fortune cookie. So Boom Whackers. Some of us know Tom Morley, who calls himself a motivational non-speaker. Talk about cool naming. Beats Work. I used to work for a company called Beats Work. Like, what a great play on words. So plays on words are great. Then here I have where do you sell products and services? So kind of, we covered that with Diana's question about, okay, what if I'm presenting? Can I say, yes, you can say, I have these available. Just avoid what I see artists make this big mistake where they just have them in a bag and they throw them on the ground in front of their equipment and they go, here's my CDs for sale. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Presentation, visual is everything. So I bring a nice sarong to cover a table. I put a nice flower on there. I mean, I have really organized a beautiful aesthetic presentation so people want to come to my table. Cross-selling and upselling, like if Jenny's booking eBay, was it eBay? Yeah, so Jenny's booking eBay and she says, if you'd like, I'm happy to also add on for X price a rhythm track that you can send out to everybody the next day to kind of anchor what they experienced together, to take it into the office, to take it back into their lives, to keep remembering this. Bang. I can license a track to you for $400 or $250. So it's an add-on package. So she could name that the drum, Jenny's name is Drum with 3M. Yeah, she's got the drum MMM, and she's got the drum memory track program. Bring it back from the gig to the workplace. Licensing fee applies per piece, per number of participants. So that's how you can digital add-on. Let me just see if there's other things out. Give stuff away, build that audience, and people will be drawn to your products for selling. Yes, of course. I'm giving away a webinar. Probably some of you have seen that. And if you haven't, it's because I'm not trying to sell it to my current audience. I'm using it as a list building tool. So I never put it on my email. I'm just getting new people. We signed up 183 people for this Science of Drumming webinar. Completely, not all new people, but many new people. But yes, giving away things is good. Good ideas, Sarah Jane. I like those thoughts. Tips, sample scripts, little gimmies. Yep, great. I want to get a product for senior groups, Lulu Jam shakers or sound shapes. Nice. But now let's think about, here's a great moment. I know we've gone over time. Can I just finish this last thing? You know, this is like one of the most important topics to me. Of course, I think I say that every month, but this one's really important because so many of us, if we're stuck in just services, we're going to sink. If like when I was sick with parasites from working in Iraq and I had 6 months where I couldn't do services, thank God I sold products, right? So what you can do is, in this case that Lulu's asking about, let me unmute you for a second. Lulu, what I want to teach you guys tonight is she writes this, I want to get a product for senior groups. What do they need?
You know, the thing is that I use a lot of, I use the chime tones and the free note things, and they're also expensive. And they love that stuff, and I use that as sort of my signature thing at the end of doing. But and so I need to have something, and the flutes are. I mean,
there's your answer. There's your answer. So first of all, I don't see you selling those, but I think you could make a recording of them.
Oh, true. Yeah. Okay.
And if that's what they love, and they can't afford them, but they love the sound you create, they're probably not going to learn how to facilitate that, right? You're talking about the tone chimes? Right.
And everything together, yeah, then the flute, everything. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's great.
But you could record that and then sell it as a digital download or a licensing deal to the senior centers, you know, or...
Yeah, Christine, you're wonderful. This is terrific.
I don't know. I just think I had it in me from a childhood. When I was a kid, I used to produce things like, I tried to sell Barbie clothes when I was a kid to other friends of mine. Isn't that hilarious? I was kind of always into product making. But it's just an extension of who we are, you guys. If we're creative enough to facilitate a drum circle or produce a play or create a poetry salon, we're creative enough to make products. That's the truth of it. And the two are complementary. And the two, I mean, I made more on Saturday selling products than I made in my speaking fee. That was interesting to me, with only a crowd of 25 people. So that's what's really interesting to me, is how important. I didn't sell high spirit flutes until a year ago. And then it just hit me like, duh, I'm playing this flute and people always ask, where do I get this? And I always send them there. That's ridiculous. There's a price to that referral, right? So it's not hard to stock these things. I just order 8 of them. They're in the back room. I grab 2 everywhere I go. The other day I sold a strum stick in a hotel lobby. So I'll end with maybe this great success story. Thank you, I like that, Sarah Jane. Here's my closing success story. I carry now my strum stick. I don't take my strum stick on the road for workshops. I now always take the strum stick for sale. It has a tag on it. I carry the strings and the book that goes with it. And I'm in a lobby playing, and a person walks up in the lobby, says, what is it? I want to buy it. In a lobby of a hotel. And I said, sure, it's for sale. You know, that's the thing about I just figured it out. I'm just going to travel with the one that I can sell and use it in the workshop. And then you pretty much always at a Health Rhythms training, I sell that same strum stick that I'm playing. So in other words, I do that with the kalimba now, the Sansula kalimba, because I love their product. I think it's a wonderful product, and I was referring people to it all the time. So wherever you refer people, track that down, see if you can include that. And Trisha, also for you, it might be something that you curate, like you'll get a tip sheet of the best online courses for writing prompts or something like that. You might also promote other people's work by curating it and aggregating that. That's a very useful thing for people. So I hope this has been a good class. We'll just see if you guys could type in the chat bar one word of what you're taking with you from today. And I'm just going to go look at what's our next topic. Topic number 7, social media and newsletter basics. Ooh, how perfect to talk about that right after talking about products and services. Okay, here's the words coming in. Excitement, inspiration, enlightened, just do it. Yeah, really it is good to do it. It doesn't happen in a thought. It's good to just do it, right? It happens in consciousness, but then do it. Brainstorming. I didn't hear the question. The question was, what's one word of what you're taking with you from today? Product. That's a good word to take from today. Product. Or resale. Reselling something and making it your own, like Philip's idea about the chime. Reselling it and making it your own. Kat Fulton's a great example. She has a company called Music Therapy Ed, and you know what she's selling? She's selling aromatherapy oils. That's her product. She didn't create that, but she's curating it and making it her own. And that's the whole idea here, okay? All right. Thank you so much. It's been a great class. For those of you who are tuning in on the recording,